My name is Amora Jenkins and I'm 34 years old. The day my sister Simone called me the family embarrassment in front of 200 people at our mother's funeral reception, I didn't know whether to cry or laugh. She stood there in her designer black dress, diamond earrings catching the light, and told everyone how she'd carried this family while I was playing with a dirty food truck. The room went silent. I could hear the ice cubes shifting in someone's sweet tea. Mama's friends shifted uncomfortably in their folding chairs. My hands were still rough from scrubbing the grill that morning before I'd rushed to the service. Simone's manicured fingers pointed at me like I was evidence in a trial. "Look at her," Simone continued, her voice dripping with mock concern. 40-hour weeks in a parking lot, smelling like grease and desperation. Mama was so disappointed. My throat tightened. I wanted to tell them the truth, that Mama had been proud of my jerk chicken, that she'd told me my grandmother's recipes were magic in my hands. But grief had stolen my voice. My younger brother Marcus laughed from the corner, always Simone's loyal audience. He'd never worked a day he didn't complain about. Meanwhile, Simone smoothed her dress. "I've secured a partnership at Henderson & Associates. Someone had to make Mama proud." The lie sat heavy in that church basement. What she didn't say was that I'd been sending money home for 8 years. That I'd paid for Mama's medications, her physical therapy, the adjustments to her bathroom when she couldn't climb stairs anymore. All while Simone posted vacation photos and complained about her stressful job that her boyfriend's father had given her. I walked out into the September heat, leaving my grief and my silence behind. The memory hit me as I sat in my truck that night, parked outside the church. 8 years ago, I'd stood in this same parking lot with $3,000 in cash, a borrowed commercial kitchen license, and Mama's handwritten recipe book wrapped in plastic. "You're making a mistake, Amora." Daddy had said it quietly, standing by his Oldsmobile. He was already sick then, though we didn't know how sick. "You got that good job at the hospital. Benefits. Stability. I need to do this, Daddy." I'd clutched that recipe book like a Bible. "Grandma's food deserves to live." He'd shaken his head, disappointed. Simone had been easier, she'd laughed outright. "A food truck? Girl, this isn't a Tyler Perry movie. You gonna end up broke and bitter." But I remembered Grandma Celine standing in her kitchen, teaching me to butterfly a chicken, to balance Scotch bonnet heat with brown sugar sweetness. "Food is love made visible, baby girl," she'd say, her knuckles swollen with arthritis but her hands still steady. "Don't let nobody tell you different." The first year was brutal. I worked the truck from 11 to 11, 6 days a week. My apartment was a studio above a laundromat. The smell of other people's detergent became my lullaby. I woke up to my phone alarm at 5 a.m., drove to the commercial kitchen I rented by the hour, prepped until 9, then drove to whatever location I'd secured for the day. My hands blistered. My back ached. Some days I made $60. Other days, $300. I learned to read weather patterns, to predict foot traffic, to smile even when my feet were screaming. Simone visited once, stepping carefully around the truck like it might contaminate her shoes. Year 2 changed everything. A food blogger with 100,000 followers stumbled onto my truck during her lunch break. She ordered the jerk chicken plate with festival and plantains. I watched through the service window as she took that first bite, eyes closed, shoulders relaxing, a small sound of pleasure escaping despite herself. "Oh my God," she'd said, looking up at me. Where did you learn this?" "My grandmother." I was breading more chicken, keeping my hands busy. She was born in Kingston, came here in 1967, brought her recipes and her iron skillet. The blog post went up that night. Hidden gem: Celine's kitchen serves authentic Jamaican soul food from a truck. By morning, there was a line. By afternoon, I'd sold out completely. By the end of the week, I had catering inquiries. I called Mama, breathless with excitement. "It's working. Mama, it's actually working." "I knew it would, baby." Her voice was warm, proud. "Your grandma's smiling down. I can feel it." Simone's response came via text. "Nice blog post. Don't let it go to your head. Internet fame doesn't pay bills." But it did. Over the next 6 months, I hired 2 employees. Then 4. I bought a second truck. The catering requests got bigger: corporate events, wedding receptions, a city councilman's birthday party. I was sleeping 4 hours a night, living on coffee and adrenaline and the comments people left on social media: best food in the city. Worth the wait. Tastes like my grandmother's kitchen. Meanwhile, Simone's Instagram showed her at brunches, spa days, weekend trips to wine country. She'd started dating Kenneth, whose family owned half the commercial real estate downtown. Life was easy for her. It always had been. The call came on a Tuesday morning while I was negotiating with a property owner about a potential restaurant space. Amora. It's Dr. Morrison. Your mother's been admitted. Heart failure. You should come now. The phone slipped in my sweaty palm. I'd sent Mama's medication money just last week. She'd said she was feeling better, planning to visit the truck on Saturday. I abandoned the negotiation, jumped in my car, and drove with my hazards on, weaving through traffic. Simone was already there, makeup perfect, sitting in the ICU waiting room scrolling through her phone. Marcus stood by the vending machine, looking uncomfortable in his wrinkled work shirt. Where were you? Simone's voice was accusatory. I've been here for hours. I came as soon as. Of course. Always busy with your little business. She stood, blocking my path, while I'm here, handling the real responsibilities. I pushed past her. Mama looked so small in that hospital bed, tubes running from her arms, monitors beeping their artificial heartbeat. I took her hand. It was cold, papery. Her eyes fluttered open. Amora. Her voice was barely a whisper. My recipe book. It's in my. Shush, Mama. Don't worry about that now. No. Listen. She squeezed my hand with surprising strength. Everything's written down. The other papers too. In the book. Don't let. She faded. The nurse ushered me out, mentioning something about rest and visiting hours. In the hallway, Simone was on her phone, her voice sharp. Kenneth, I need you to call your father's lawyer. Yes, now. It's time to handle the estate properly. My blood went cold. Mama's still alive, Simone. She looked at me like I was naive. And we need to be prepared. Someone has to think practically. Mama held on for 3 more weeks. I moved into the ICU waiting room, running the business from my laptop, taking calls in the hallway, sleeping in plastic chairs that left marks on my skin. I watched her breathe through tubes, watched her chest rise and fall with mechanical assistance. Simone visited twice. Marcus came when I called him, but his eyes were always on his phone. I was there when Mama's breathing changed at 3 in the morning, when the nurses rushed in, when the doctor finally said the words that split my world in half. The funeral was on a Saturday. My staff covered the truck. They'd insisted, telling me family came first. I wore the black dress I'd bought at a discount store, the only one I owned. Simone wore Chanel. The church was packed. Mama had touched so many lives, her students from 30 years of teaching, neighbors she'd helped, friends who'd gathered at her Sunday dinners. Person after person told stories about her kindness, her wisdom, her laughter that could fill a room. Then came the reception. That's when Simone made her speech, standing near the potato salad and fried chicken that I'd cooked that morning because I couldn't bear to let strangers handle Mama's funeral food. I want to thank everyone for coming, Simone began, her voice carrying across the church basement. Mama was everything to us. And she would want us to be honest today. My stomach dropped. I knew that tone. She worried about this family. About our future. She worried especially about Amora. Simone's eyes found mine across the room. My sister, who gave up a real career to chase a dream. Who's out there in a food truck, struggling, while the rest of us built something stable. People were staring now. I felt their eyes like heat lamps. Mama told me she was disappointed. She wanted more for her baby girl. That's when I walked out. I went straight to Mama's house, the small brick ranch where we'd grown up, where the kitchen still smelled like her coconut oil hair grease and vanilla extract. The key stuck in the lock like always. Inside, everything was exactly as she'd left it. Her reading glasses on the coffee table, her Bible bookmarked at Psalms, her favorite coffee mug in the sink. I went to her bedroom, my hands shaking. The recipe book was in her nightstand, just where it had always been. But when I pulled it out, I noticed it was heavier than I remembered. I opened it carefully. Recipes were there: Grandma Celine's jerk marinade, her festival dough, her curry goat instructions in faded pencil. But tucked between the pages were other papers. Bank statements, property deeds, insurance documents, and letters. So many letters. The first one was dated 2 years ago. Dear Amora, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I need you to know the truth about what I've built and what I've protected for you. My hands trembled as I kept reading. Mama had been documenting everything, every dollar I'd sent, every time Simone had borrowed money and never repaid it, every lie Marcus had told about needing help when he'd actually been gambling. There were copies of checks, text message screenshots printed out, even recordings on a small USB drive taped to the back cover. But the most shocking document was a will, notarized and official, dated 6 months before she died. I leave my house and its contents to my daughter Amora Jenkins, in recognition of her devotion, sacrifice, and the love she showed me in my final years. And there was more. Mama had taken out a life insurance policy, $500,000, with me as the sole beneficiary. I sat on her bedroom floor, surrounded by evidence of my mother's faith in me, and cried until my throat was raw. I didn't tell anyone what I'd found. Not yet. I needed to think, to plan, to figure out what Mama wanted me to do with this information. I arranged the funeral expenses, paid the church, ordered flowers. I did it all quietly, from the savings account I'd built from the food truck business. 2 days after the funeral, Simone called. We need to talk about the house. Mama's house. Obviously. Her voice had that edge it got when she was about to take something. Kenneth's father knows a real estate agent. The market's hot right now. We could get maybe 300,000, split it 3 ways. You could finally get out of that food truck, invest in something real. Simone, we just buried her. And bills don't wait for grief, Amora. Mama would want us to be smart about this. I thought about the will in my bag, safely copied and stored. I need time. For what? It's just sitting there. None of us live there anymore. It's wasted potential. She paused. Unless you're being selfish about it. Is this about those recipes? Because girl, we can copy them before we sell. My jaw clenched. I'll think about it. Think fast. Kenneth's father's agent has buyers waiting. She hung up before I could respond. I sat in my truck, staring at my phone. The lunch rush was starting. I could see the line forming outside. My employees, Deshawn and Keisha, were handling it smoothly, their rhythm perfected from 2 years of working together. My phone buzzed again. Marcus this time. Yo, Simone said we're selling the house? When do I get my cut? I got some debts to handle. Neither of them had asked if I was okay. Neither had asked about Mama's belongings, her memories, the life she'd built in that house. They just wanted their money. I threw myself into work. The food truck was profitable, but I'd been dreaming bigger. I'd saved nearly $200,000 over 5 years. Every dollar that didn't go to rent, food, or helping Mama. I'd been looking at restaurant spaces, imagining a real kitchen, tables where families could sit, walls where I could hang photos of Grandma Celine and Mama. Kenneth's father owned the perfect space, a corner lot downtown with huge windows and a commercial kitchen that needed minimal renovation. I'd inquired 6 months ago, but they'd wanted too much. Now, with Mama's life insurance, I could make it work. I called the number on the listing. A woman answered, professional and crisp. Henderson Properties. How can I help you? I'm interested in the restaurant space on 4th and Mason. Is it still available? Oh, that space. Actually, we just accepted an offer this morning. Sorry, honey. My heart sank. Do you know what they're planning to use it for? Some upscale fusion concept, I think. The buyer has family connections, so we prioritized their offer. She paused. Wait, did you say you're interested? What's your budget? I told her. She laughed, actually laughed. Oh sweetie, you'd need at least double that for that location. Maybe look at something further out. I hung up, my face burning. That space had been listed for 18 months. Nobody wanted it. Now suddenly it was gone. Then my phone lit up with an Instagram notification. Simone had posted, exciting news. Kenneth and I are opening a restaurant, K&S Fusion. Can't wait to share this journey with you all. #Black Excellence, #New Beginnings, #Power Couple. The photo showed them in front of my space. My dream space. I stared at that photo until my eyes burned. She'd stolen it. Somehow she'd found out I was interested and she'd used Kenneth's connections to snatch it away. I drove to Simone's apartment, the luxury high-rise where she'd lived since Kenneth's father had invested in their relationship. The doorman tried to stop me, but I pushed past, my food truck worker muscles surprising him. I pounded on her door. She opened it in a silk robe, a glass of wine in her hand, her hair in perfect curls. Amora. What? The restaurant. My voice was shaking. Fourth and Mason. You took it. She had the audacity to smile. Oh, you heard. Yes, Kenneth's father helped us secure the space. It's going to be amazing. I'd been negotiating for that space for 6 months. Had you made an offer? I was waiting until. Then you didn't really want it. She leaned against the doorframe. Look, this is how business works. You snooze, you lose. Maybe if you'd spent less time playing around with a food truck and more time building real capital, real connections, you could compete. That was my dream, Simone. No. Her voice turned cold. That was a fantasy. This is reality. Kenneth and I have the resources, the connections, the experience to make a real restaurant work. What do you have? Some recipes and a parking lot. Kenneth appeared behind her, his hand possessive on her shoulder. Everything okay, babe? Just my sister having trouble accepting that life isn't fair. Simone sipped her wine. Now if you'll excuse us, we have a business plan to finalize. The door closed in my face. I stood there in that pristine hallway, my work boots leaving marks on the marble floor, my hands still smelling like onions and garlic despite 3 washings. I walked back to my truck, sat there in the parking garage, and made a decision. Monday morning, I walked into a law office downtown. The attorney's name was Mrs. Patricia Okonkwo. Mama had recommended her in one of the letters. She helped me with the will, Mama had written. She understands family. She understands what's at stake. Mrs. Okonkwo was a Nigerian woman in her 60s, with grey locks and sharp eyes that assessed me immediately. You must be Amora. Your mother spoke highly of you. I laid out everything, the will, the life insurance documents, the bank statement showing years of my support while Simone and Marcus contributed nothing. Then I told her about the house, Simone's demands to sell it, the stolen restaurant space. She read through everything carefully, her expression never changing. Finally, she looked up. Your mother was very thorough. She knew there might be challenges to the will. Will they challenge it? They might. Especially if they believe they're entitled to more. She tapped the documents. But your mother was clear, specific, and sound of mind. She had witnesses. She had documentation. The will is solid. What do I do? First, you file the will with probate court. The house is yours, that's not debatable. The life insurance goes directly to you as beneficiary, so they have no claim there. But be prepared, once they know, there will be conflict. I'm ready. She studied me for a long moment. Your mother told me something when we drew up these papers. She said, Amora thinks she's the weak one, but she's been holding this family up for years. When I'm gone, she'll need proof that I saw her strength. This is that proof, Amora. Don't be afraid to use it. I filed the paperwork that afternoon. The clerk stamped everything with bureaucratic efficiency. Notification will go out to all potential heirs within 72 hours, she said. I had 3 days before the bomb went off. Simone's call came at midnight, 73 hours later. I'd been expecting it. What the fuck did you do? She was screaming, beyond rage into something primal. The house. The insurance. You manipulated her, you convinced her to cut us out. I didn't convince her of anything, Simone. Bullshit. You poisoned her against us. You were there all the time, whispering lies. I was there because someone had to be. My voice was calmer than I felt. I was there changing her bandages, managing her medications, holding her hand through pain you never saw because you were too busy posting pictures from Napa. We had careers. We had responsibilities. So did I. I built a business while taking care of our mother. You built a lifestyle while taking her money. The silence was sharp enough to cut. Then, what money? The $10,000 you borrowed for your car down payment and never repaid. The $5,000 for your trip to Dubai. The $3,000 for Marcus's gambling debts. Should I continue? Because Mama documented everything. You're lying. Mrs. Patricia Okonkwo, attorney at law. She has copies of everything. Bank transfers, text messages, even some voice recordings. Mama was thorough, Simone. She wanted to make sure I had proof when you tried to rewrite history. Another pause. When she spoke again, her voice had changed, calculating, dangerous. You know what? Keep the house. Keep your little inheritance. But don't think you're going to show us up. Kenneth and I are opening our restaurant in 6 weeks. We're going to show this whole city what real black excellence looks like. And you'll still be in a parking lot, smelling like grease. We'll see. I hung up. My hands were shaking, adrenaline flooding my system. I'd stood up to her. Finally. After 34 years, I'd stopped being the quiet sister who took the insults and kept moving. It felt terrifying. It felt powerful. It felt right. I took Mama's life insurance money and turned it into something she would have loved. Not one restaurant. 5 locations. Small, fast casual spots in different neighborhoods, each one carrying Grandma Celine's name and legacy. I hired people from the community, trained them personally, taught them the recipes with the same care Grandma had taught me. The first location opened 3 months after Mama's funeral. The line wrapped around the block. Food critics came. Television news covered it. Social media exploded. From food truck to restaurant empire, local entrepreneur honors her grandmother's legacy. I opened the second location 4 months later. Then the third. Each one profitable within 8 weeks. I wasn't trying to compete with Simone's fancy fusion concept. I was building something real, something rooted in community and love and recipes that had survived generations. Kenneth and Simone's restaurant opened with a huge party. Influencers, local politicians, Kenneth's father's business partners. The photos looked beautiful, exposed brick, Edison bulbs, plates arranged like modern art. They charged $40 for jerk chicken wings. My jerk chicken plate cost $12 and came with rice, plantains, and festival. We sold 300 plates a day. 6 months in, I opened location number 7. Simone's restaurant was struggling. The reviews complained about authenticity, about style over substance. They're trying too hard, one critic wrote. Meanwhile, Celine's kitchen keeps it real and keeps it delicious. Marcus called me once, awkwardly asking for a job. I told him I'd consider it if he got clean and stayed clean for 6 months. He cursed me out and hung up. I didn't call back. I was too busy building. Location 10. Location 15. Each one a testament to Mama's faith in me, to Grandma Celine's magic, to the power of actually giving a damn about your food and your people. Year 2 brought location number 35. Also brought the news that Kenneth and Simone's restaurant was closing. I heard it through the industry grapevine before I saw the Instagram post, carefully worded, blaming the pandemic, even though other restaurants had survived, talking about pivoting and new opportunities. What they didn't mention, the health code violations, the staff complaints about wage theft, the investors pulling out when they realized Kenneth's father's name couldn't save a business built on ego instead of execution. Simone called me at 3 a.m. She was drunk or high or both. You're happy now, right? You won. You got what you wanted. Simone, I never wanted you to fail. Liar. You've been waiting for this. Little Amora, finally getting revenge. I didn't need revenge. I needed to build something real. That's what Mama wanted. That's what Grandma Celine taught me. They loved me too. Her voice cracked. I'm their daughter too. Their granddaughter. Then why didn't you honor them? My voice was quiet. Why didn't you learn the recipes? Visit Mama's grave. Build something that mattered instead of something that looked good on Instagram. She was crying now. Real tears, not the performative ones she'd shed at the funeral. I don't know how to do what you do. I never learned. You could have asked. You would have said no. Would I have? Silence. Then she hung up. I sat in the dark of Location 17's office, looking at the photos on my wall, Grandma Celine in her kitchen, Mama at my first food truck, my team at each grand opening. Faces full of joy, pride, purpose. I'd built something. Not to prove anyone wrong, but because it was right. Marcus called 2 days later. Simone's struggling. Her relationship with Kenneth fell apart. She's broke, Amora. Like actually broke. And she's family. So was I when she humiliated me at Mama's funeral. Come on. You gonna be like that? Be like what? Successful, happy, free from people who only value me when they need something. He sighed. Just think about it. I did think about it. Location 50 opened on what would have been Mama's 68th birthday. It wasn't just a restaurant, it was a community center, culinary school, and training program all in one. I'd bought Mama's old church basement, renovated it, and turned it into a place where people could learn, grow, and build their own food businesses. The grand opening was massive. Politicians, press, community leaders. But also my employees, the ones who'd been with me since the food truck days, the ones I'd trained personally, the ones who'd become family. I stood at the podium, looking at the crowd. And there, in the back, I saw Simone. She looked different, smaller somehow, humbled by life in a way that success never could have taught her. No designer dress today. Just jeans and a simple blouse. Our eyes met. After the speeches, after the ribbon cutting, after the first plates were served, she approached me. Amora. Simone. I'm not here to ask for anything. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For the funeral. For the restaurant. For all of it. Her voice was steady but small. Mama would be proud of you. I know that now. I studied her face, looking for the trick, the angle. Found only exhaustion and truth. She would have been proud of you too. If you'd let her be. Can I come back sometime? Not for a job or money. Just to learn. Like you learned from Grandma Celine. I thought about Mama's voice. Food is love made visible. I thought about Grandma Celine's hands, patient and persistent, teaching me to see cooking as service, not just survival. Thursday mornings, I said finally. 7 a.m. Bring an apron and a notebook. No phones, no excuses, no attitude. Just a willingness to learn. Thank you. Tears were running down her face. Thank you. She left. I turned back to the celebration, to the restaurant that was really a monument, to sacrifice, to patience, to the women who'd taught me that success isn't about revenge or validation. It's about building something that outlasts your pain, something that feeds more than just your ego. 50 restaurants. Hundreds of employees. Millions of meals served. All because a woman in a food truck refused to believe that struggle meant failure, that silence meant weakness, that being underestimated meant being defeated. Mama was right. Grandma Celine was right. This home, this empire, was built on sacrifice, not lies. On love, not pride. On recipes that carried generations of wisdom in every perfectly balanced spice blend. And it was mine. Finally, completely, undeniably mine. They can take your space. They can steal your opportunities. They can mock your hustle. But they can never take what you build with your own hands, fed by your own faith, seasoned with your own tears. That belongs to you. Forever.